Hello there and welcome to another video on this Esoteric YouTube channel. My name is Pete Haskins. Wonderful having you with me again. This is another study on Gnosticism in the book of John. I'm going to take a little detour here regarding this sequence of what we've been studying. So we're going to go back to the very first chapter in the book of John, and I'm going to be sharing with you some stuff from the best book on Gnosticism, I think, ever written, by Hans Jonas, The Gnostic Religion. This is a fantastic study, and I've been reading this on vacation up here at beautiful Douglas Lake in northern Michigan. So had some time to get away, and I appreciate this luxury of being able to get away and take some time off. So hope you are rested, hope you are doing well, and as always, welcome to you, and so great to have you here with me, and I welcome you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. So I'm going to be reading a little bit from just the first 5 verses. I want to revisit this. This is something we talked about quite a while ago in this study, and this is from the Eugene Peterson interpretation of the Bible, the New Testament rather, and this is the first 5 verses. The Word was first, the Word present to God, God present to the Word. The Word was God, in readiness for God from day one. Everything was created through Him. Nothing, not one thing, came into being without Him. What came into existence was life, and the life was the light to live by. The light blazed out of the darkness, and darkness couldn't put it out. As I said, I've been reading this classic, this seminal work by Hans Jonas, The Gnostic Religion. Highly recommend this in terms of anything that you're interested in regarding Gnosticism. It is one of the very first books, and just wonderful writing. In chapter 3 here, entitled Gnostic Imagery and Symbolic Language, and I want to talk about this one very first section here called the Alien. Okay, this is one of the key images in Gnosticism, and Jonas talks about this as being one of the main images that Gnostic writers used in terms of being able to explain and imagine and decipher existence for them, and it pertains to a lot of stuff that's going on today. So I want to talk to this in reference to those first 5 verses within John, and how John really does have this flavor of Gnosticism in it, and this is one of the reasons why. Jonas talks quite a bit about the influence of the Mandaeans and their influence upon Gnostic imagery. And this is a big part of this concept of the alien. And he writes here that the concept of alien life is one of the great impressive word symbols which we encounter in Gnostic speech, and it is new in the history of human speech in general. It has equivalents throughout Gnostic literature. For example, in Marcion's concept of the alien God, or just the alien, the other, the unknown, the nameless, the hidden. Then he goes on to give a good definition of the alien here. The alien is that which stems from elsewhere and does not belong here. To those who do belong here, it is thus the strange, the unfamiliar, the incomprehensible. But their world on its part is just as incomprehensible to the alien that comes to dwell here, and like a foreign land where it is far from home. Then it suffers the lot of the stranger who is lonely, unprotected, uncomprehended, and uncomprehending in a situation full of danger. Anguish and homesickness are a part of the stranger's lot. The stranger who does not know the ways of the foreign land wanders about lost. If he learns its ways too well, he forgets that he is a stranger and gets lost in a different sense of succumbing to the lure of the alien world and becoming estranged from his own origin. Then he has become a son of the house. And that's in quotes, son of the house. This too is part of the alien's fate. In his alienation from himself, the distress has gone, but this very fact is the culmination of the stranger's tragedy. The recollection of his own alienness, the recognition of his place of exile for what it is the first step back. The awakened homesickness is the beginning of the return. All this belongs to the suffering side of alienness. Now, when we're talking about this, we have to go a little bit deeper, and I have an example for you. One of the reasons I wanted to talk about the idea of the alien and the symbolism within the Mandaean Gnostic tradition is because of Charles Ashanin, who was from the Orthodox side of things. And there is some really interesting connections between Gnosticism and Orthodoxy and early Christianity, and also some of the fourth way teachings from Gurdjieff and Ouspensky and Moraviev, and we'll get to that later. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about was the sense of the alien, and I had read about that here in this previous clip about the sense of the alien and how pertinent that is to Gnostic belief. And Charles Ashanin had this belief. He was an exile from Montenegro, and he, if you know anything from the videos and the books that I've read or written about Charles, he really had a sense that he did not fit in on a physical level, cultural, social, but on an existential and on a spiritual level. He did not fit in, right? And one of the reasons why, I think, is because he did not feel like he was from this world, okay? And he said that to me on many occasions, that he felt like he was not from here, and that he was a spiritual exile, and that he did not feel like he belonged. And he felt like he was in enemy territory constantly. And a guy named Jerry Jansen, who was a professor of Old Testament at Christian Theological Seminary, and I took a class from him called Exegesis class, and he described Charles as a paratrooper dropped behind enemy lines, and he was constantly looking for allies. And one of the things that's interesting to me is that Charles not only felt like that as an American citizen who was from Montenegro, didn't feel like he fit in, and he was very much connected to the African American community, and he taught at a couple colleges in South Carolina during the early 60s. Felt very much connected with African Americans. And he felt like he did not belong, though. He felt like a spiritual exile. Charles had an idea of where he came from. And he believed not necessarily in predestination, but he believed in pre-existence. And he believed that he came from another place. And that this world that he was in was a fallen world. And this idea of dualism is very prevalent in true Christianity, very prevalent in Gnosticism, very prevalent in Egyptian Christianity, very prevalent with the Essenes, in other words, and all through Gnostic literature. And within the boundaries of the Gospel of John, you see this as well. And what you're seeing is this first 5 verses within the book of John, the light came into this fallen world. Let me read that again. The Word was first, the Word present to God, and God present to the Word. The Word was God, in readiness for God from day one. Everything was created through Him. Nothing, not one thing, came into being without Him. What came into existence was life, and the life was the light to live by. And the light blazed out of the darkness, and the darkness couldn't put it out. This this sense that we are living in a place that is fallen is an essential part of Gnostic theology and spirituality. And it's an essential part of Orthodox spirituality. And it's an essential part of Essene theology and spirituality. And if you feel as if you don't fit in, and if you feel as if you are an alien, then you might be onto something. And I want to encourage you to look into this more, because this whole sense that we are in a fallen world, I mean, the Gnostics, according to Hans Jonas, the Gnostics believe that the universe itself, the entire universe, is a prison, and that the earth is actually the dungeon of the universe. I mean, think about that. That the earth is the dungeon, and that we are so separated from our true homeland. And that's what Charles thought. And Moraviev used the term in his book Gnosis 1, 2, and 3, ironically called Gnosis. And Boris Moraviev says that this world is mixtus orbis, the Latin term for the mixture of good and evil. And the Gnostics really believe that it's not 50-50 mixture. The Gnostics really believe that it's like 90% evil and 10% good, and maybe even less than that. So the Gnostics believe this as well. Moraviev, Gurdjieff, Ouspensky, Charles Ashanin, Robin Amos, Ted Nottingham, Rebecca Nottingham, they all believe this. The Getmans, Alphonse and Rachel, they believe that this is a fallen world, and that we have to look out for the people who are our allies and who are the fallen children, and we have to awaken to this out of our slumber. We have to sober up from our drunkenness. You know, in AA we talk about this, but in AA, in any type of addiction issues, you know, how a drug can take you over. So what we have to realize here is that we live in this darkness, and we have to awaken, and that's why Christ, and for the Mandaeans it would be John, but for us it's Christ, came here, who made his way through all the 7 or the 12 spheres, whichever angle you look at in terms of Gnosticism, in terms of this fallen nature. He made his way through all those levels of darkness, and each level had a devil or a demon that he had to pass through. Now that's the Gnostic, that's a Gnostic belief. That's far from standard Christianity. But there is this sense that we live in this fallen world, and someone like Charles Ashanin looked at this and said, yes. And I believe that. And I, in my own life, have always felt as if I didn't belong here, as if I wasn't from here. And I feel that way. I continue to feel that way. And feel as if I'm just now awakening to this realization. After 25 years of not studying this stuff, now all of a sudden this stuff makes sense to me. And I'm wondering if it makes sense to you too. And if you do, and if it does, I want to reach out my hand to you, and I want to say to you, there are other people who feel this way too. Maybe you don't feel like you fit in, but there are explanations to that, and we are going to continue to do that. But we are also going to continue to help each other through this darkness, so that we don't feel alone, because we have to stay together, and we have to take care of one another, and we will. And I'm here to help you, here to pray for you. No matter where you're at on life's journey, you're going to be okay. And if you feel like you don't fit in, it's okay. There's others around that don't feel that way. Don't feel like they fit in either. There are others that feel the same way. Blessings to you. And I think this is just the beginning of this study. So let's stay with it. Take care. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't, and comment, and share, and let's just keep this community going. Take care. Talk to you soon.